Welcome to the Crew Live. This is our pilot episode, and today we've got Matt, Rich, Curtis, and Jim, and we are a crew of family and friends with 20 years of talking about issues, topics, dilemmas, social controversy, and all kinds of things that might upset your grandma. This is an uncensored show. We're taping you live from our garage studio, and we are here to not only say anything, but to say things that might enlighten you. Get in touch with us on the crewlive.co, and Matt, CO.
Yeah, wow.
Let's have a seat, boys. Welcome to the Crew Live.
Thanks, James.
What are the rules on the Crew Live?
There are no rules.
There are no rules. Do we sit close or do we sit far?
I'll take my own cushion here.
Yeah, I like that Christian. I'm good here.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with men sitting close together. Just
There is
if they're
not.
comfortable with that.
There's nothing wrong with men sitting close together. This actually, culture is right now in a huge transition with what's acceptable for men and not. And what's acceptable on the Crew Live is that we aren't going to talk much about sports. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about parenting. We're going to talk about education. We're going to talk about disaster. We're going to talk about terror. We're going to talk about anything that comes to mind. But we do have a few topics today.
But my real quick caveat,
Yeah.
can I flash back to culture sitting close together?
Yeah, I'm going to turn that noise off while you flash back.
Thank you. One of the weirdest cultures, just for comfortability, was when I was in Nepal for a short time. And guys with guys, unknown to each other, they would sit together and they would sit like this and just talk.
Are you serious?
And that's how they talked. Random guys would come up, we were sitting there talking, they'd come here and they'd talk with it, your hand would be on the leg, and they used to be like this.
I heard
the whole
something
time.
about that.
And I've never experienced that before. And the first time I was sitting there, one of the guys came up to me, one of the Sherpas, he's just sitting like right beside me. I'm like, and there's like all this space. I'm looking past him, I'm like, okay. And then his hand's on my thigh, and I'm like, wow, this is a bit weird.
He put his hand on your thigh.
On the inside of my thigh too, which in our culture, that's a little uncomfortable, invasive.
Yeah.
So I found that a little bit awkward.
Jim,
but
why are
then
you on your tablet?
after about a month or so, it all settled in.
Is this ever ignorant? It's our first show and I'm already on my tablet.
I feel like you're bored.
No. Reason why is because the music's still on and I meant to stop the music.
Okay, I thought you were, how come Angry Birds is still on there? That's kind of
your
weird.
battery low.
Well, it's about the batteries. So why is it on my tablet? Do you think that was prickish to be on my tablet?
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't
Yeah.
happen very much in today's society, where you're in a group of people and someone goes to their phone or their tablet.
I noticed sarcasm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you mean like just starting talking and just got to check my emails though for a second?
Yeah, but
Oh,
how do you feel about it when they do it?
Annoyed.
Both of you guys are annoyed.
Annoyed.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't care.
100%.
I don't care either.
No.
Why wouldn't you care?
Because I guess I don't care because I know that that's important to them. They're getting their need met right there, and my need, I don't feel like my need to have their attention trumps their need to look at their phone.
But they cannot be present with you for 5 minutes at a time?
Okay, time out there. So this kind of annoys me when somebody says they cannot be. They have been, and they will be.
Physically-
But
physically they are,
they
that's
remove
it.
themselves for a couple minutes, but then they'll be present again.
I just think it's setting a bad precedent across the board where people very seldom exist in the moment anymore. Like, if you stop at a stoplight, it goes back to the same thing. People can't just drive and stop, and I gotta wait 1 minute for this light to change, so they look down on their phone, and they check shit on their phone.
You don't do that?
No.
Go to a kid's
I can drive for
Go to a
20
kid's
minutes without looking
sporting
at my
event.
phone.
Go to a kid's sporting event. There's parents there watching their kids, but they're not watching
They're
their
not watching
kids.
their kids. They're showing up at the event.
They're at the phone. They're there. They drove them there, but they're not actually there because they're seeing what's going on Facebook.
See, I think we need to be more present as a people. We're losing that skill set. You
Okay.
cannot be
I'm pretty
here.
much sure our society is doomed. Again, maybe with sarcasm. Yeah, Steve Jobs has just fucked us all over for eternity. I don't think that
Yeah, so we're trapped.
it's ever going to be the same.
So to that point, what is the actual negative consequence that we're seeing? Like, here we are, 4 guys on the Crew Live, not talking about sports.
Still.
We did it for 5 minutes.
5 minutes,
Yeah.
and we all have phones. I've had my phone in my hand once and my tablet in my hand once,
Yeah.
and but still we're interacting and socializing.
Yes.
So,
But I
what
think
is
a
the
lot of
real
times
negative?
that isn't the case. Is sometimes what'll happen is say you maybe have people in a relationship. Yeah, we're gonna get closer, further away, and they're both on their phones, but they're not. They're with each other, but they're not. They're on their
Yes.
phones. They're physically close to each other, but that's where it ends. Like my personal example, this was, and I say this all the time. Like if I'm with a couple of people and they're both on their phones, I just like get up and walk away.
You just
Yeah, and I was going to
And
say,
you-
you know what? It
I
depends
don't-
how
I
much.
don't
It
disagree
depends how
with
much
that.
time you have with somebody. I guess if you're with them for 10 minutes, can you not focus on them for 10 minutes? But on the other side of the coin, if you're only willing to invest 10 minutes in them anyways, then who cares if you're on your phone and you offend them? And if you offend them, ultimately that's their problem, in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's a difference between if you just look at your phone, if you just check it, it dings or something like that, you check and you put it down like that. That's a
Not
different thing.
important. As opposed to,
Yeah.
and then they're sitting there smiling while they're texting because they're sending little happy notes back and forth. You're like, really?
Yeah.
Like we're having a conversation, now you're starting a new conversation with somebody radically different. Mid-sentence.
I was helping lead a workshop one time, and we one of the other instructors was up, and I was on my phone. And when we got all the evaluations back, somebody said it seemed like Jim was disinterested. Yeah, and I wasn't even doing the workshop. I was sitting back just like a student for the moments. And there was an issue going on that had to do with a death in somebody's family, and it was really a legitimate thing that I had to deal with. But I was so incensed that they would judge me for being back even out of the real moment and doing my own phone stuff. Maybe I was taking notes, or maybe I was studying.
And you know, before the cameras are even on, you talked about how people are oversensitive to everything,
Yes. Offended by everything.
offended by people being on the phone.
I'm not
So-
offended, I'm annoyed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, me too.
It-
Yeah, I
it's
said
a
annoyed.
conversational
We
thing.
said,
If
we
I
said
see-
annoyed at the same time. It's,
Yeah, we
sorry
did.
to offend you guys.
yeah.
When,
With the wrong,
when I'm sitting
wrong
at a coffee
definition.
shop and there's a couple people sitting in the next table, not talking to each other, just texting, drinking their coffee at the same table, but not interacting, I don't care. That's not my business.
Okay,
But
it's
if
you
I'm,
didn't
if I'm
poke
having
your
a
nose in.
conversation with you, Jim, and we're talking, and all of a sudden, blah, 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 and then, just mid-sentence, randomly wander
Yeah.
off and chatter with somebody else, that's peculiar.
Yeah, okay.
What if that person said, "Do you mind if I just take this for a second?" What
if
would you
it's
say?
important, if it's important, yes.
You would put
I
that
would
stipulation
assume-
on him.
No,
If
I
it's
wouldn't
important, you
say
can
that.
take it.
No.
But
someone-
I would think the person I'm having the conversation with live
Yeah.
would take that into account
Yeah.
and be courteous.
Even yesterday, I was out for lunch with Tara,
Yeah.
and we're having lunch, and we had a question about that we wanted to ask a mutual friend, and so I was going to text. And as the waitress came over and I was texting and Tara was sitting there, and it was really, I was sending the text for both of us, I felt that she was judging me.
The waitress.
And it's just me thinking like
Yeah.
that, but it's not the waitress. But I was thinking, I hope this waitress isn't thinking that I'm ignoring my wife by being on my phone.
So if you were the waitress in that same situation, would you have judged that situation?
Yes.
With having really no prior knowledge about your conversation and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
people that you're looking at, you just,
For sure.
That's today's culture, right? Just judge at the drop of a hat,
Well,
I guess.
I wouldn't care that much, but
Yeah.
it'd probably be a fleeting thought that would go through my head. And
Mm-hmm.
oh, this guy's sure paying attention to his wife. But, you know,
Nice mug, Jim. Nice mug.
Yeah, here I was distracted by my mug.
I was wondering where you got these and if anybody else was
These
able
mugs,
to
yeah.
have them.
If you're interested in a Crew Live mug, feel free to email us through our YouTube channel or website at thecrewlive.co, and we can ship you out a mug for $19.99 plus shipping.
You're just blinking away back there. Rich.
Look
Just
at that
making
thing.
up.
Okay,
Oh,
who
we
is
don't
it?
want to do that.
You're
You want to
just
know?
I want to know who it is.
That can't be part of the
No,
that is.
conversation.
Okay.
It's my mother-in-law.
Okay. Okay. If it's appropriate, I wanted to know who it is because maybe it was important for you to take that call.
Yeah,
What if she's sick?
she's not.
Okay, good. The mother, actually, that should be a topic on the Crew Live. This is how I think it needs to go too, guys. Where's our pen gone, Curtis?
So $19.95, really?
Yeah.
Like this
Plus
sticker
shipping.
cost you what? 23 cents, and you're going to mark it up? That's
No, this is the prototype mug. The real ones are on order and they're
Oh,
coming
okay.
in. Yeah, the real ones. This.
all right.
Can you tell on camera that this is a sticker? I doubt it.
I like your markup though. Kevin O'Leary would like that markup.
Yeah.
$19.99 from 23 cents.
Well, for volume purchases, we
Yeah.
can bring it down. Okay, so just before we go on, you just mentioned Kevin O'Leary, and I know he would be really pissy about someone being on their phone when he's having an interaction with them because he thinks because he's rich, he
So you
demands.
feel like I'm pissy. Is that where you're going with this?
Okay, it's kind of equivalent to annoying, isn't it?
Well, I don't think that actually makes me think of something. So if I was chatting with someone, well, I guess it's unfamiliar as well. If it's someone unfamiliar, I'm probably less prone to use my phone, and especially if it's someone of a higher status, I would think. Like if I was chatting with Kevin O'Leary and my phone was ringing or vibrating in my pocket, at no point would I even cross my mind to grab it. Whereas if I was chatting with Matt, who
You know him so
he's
well.
Matt,
Yeah.
I would probably take it and walk away. But yeah, that makes you think.
So what I'm hearing is it's a direct correlation to how much you respect that person, and you don't respect
Sounded
Matt at
like you
all.
don't
I don't know about respect, but familiarity.
Yeah.
and maybe.
Generally, are you saying about yourself? Because I think you're disciplined enough that you, no matter who it is, even if it's some peon individual you don't care about, you still won't do it.
I would probably try not to, especially
Yeah.
if it's someone that I'm not as familiar with.
Right.
Like if I'm having a chat with Rick Hansen, I'm not going to touch my phone. I want to be with Rick Hansen.
Who's Rick Hansen?
I was going to ask, is he wheelchair
That
athlete?
sounds awkward, but
I want to be. I don't want to be with Rick Hansen.
I came on that
I want to be.
Rick
kind
Hansen.
of
Just
quirky.
to give you an idea, right?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No,
but
Curtis's dreams
Whatever.
might come into the play here, but
Yeah.
we'll find out.
Phones, tablets, they're never going away, so you got to adapt.
Well, you might evolve into something different.
Adapt.
Yeah, we keep like the issue is the technology always precedes the ethics and etiquette of how it's used, right?
Correct.
So now we're trying to define how that's used, but it's different for everybody. Because I've just agreed, I agree with Rich. It doesn't bother me unless I shouldn't say it doesn't bother me. I guess it bothers me when it's persistent. When, like, if you picked up your phone once and your kid needed a ride or needed something, like, who's going to judge for that? But if you do it repeatedly in a visit, whether it's a 3-minute visit or an hour visit, it does. I guess I do. I get annoyed. Sorry to not use offensive.
I don't like the word offensive.
Offended.
Everybody uses that word offensive. You can't walk down the street without somebody being offended by anything anymore. A word, a phrase. You're driving. And don't get me wrong, I'm an angry driver.
So what offends you?
But what offends
Yeah,
me?
let's talk about that for a bit before we talk about Kevin O'Leary and his pursuit of greatness in Canadian politics as well as American TV.
The only thing that really offends me is stupidity. But,
Why do you say that in the same
versions.
breath as we speak of Kevin O'Leary?
well, I should have a problem with Kevin O'Leary. He's who he is.
You know what offends me? I've been looking for a platform. I've been bitching to my wife for a decade about this. Is oblivious people. You talk
stupidity.
about stupidity and oblivious people. People who are at the bank teller and there's 12 people behind them and they're visiting with the teller for 5 minutes like they're the only person on the planet. Or they're at the teller at the grocery store and they're visiting for 5 minutes like they're the only person on the planet. All they see is the next 5 seconds in front of them and the next 5 steps of their life. They don't care about anybody else. Completely, I can't stand it. Can't stand
So
it.
you don't like they're having a positive interaction? Or that they're
That's not the
holding you
place.
up?
That's not. They're holding me up.
All right.
My time's more important than them.
Are you speaking about the teller or the customer?
How about the customer?
Okay, because
Customer.
I seen where the teller just starts telling a story.
Oh yeah.
Right? She goes off about
Yes.
somebody makes the mistake of saying, "Oh, and how are you today?"
I know that's always a mistake.
right.
Then you get too much personal information that I don't want sometimes.
Yeah, and that teller is oblivious.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
But
for
I think
sure.
they're trained. I think a lot of people in retail are trained, are told, focus on whoever's in front of you because there's always going to be a lineup. But I think they take it too far sometimes. That offends you. People oblivious. Stupidity, you said, offends you?
In all its forms, Jim. In all its forms.
So, can you pick one form?
No, just stupidity.
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, people make really stupid decisions with no thought or forethought in it, and that just drives me batty. That's all. Simple.
That
Whether
is
they're
simple.
driving like idiots or walking down the street like idiots. It's
With
just
their
bad
cell phones.
choices. But yeah, exactly.
So
Stare
what-
at the cell phone.
So what I want to know more about this Kevin O'Leary thing because maybe I went to the loop a little bit.
Okay, so
Tell me exactly. Well, I know who he is. He's on the Dragon's Den. He's that the bald fella that's got lots of money, and he's also got that Shark Tank.
yeah,
And he offered $1
And
million
Dragon's Den.
if the Premier of Alberta steps down.
How much?
$1 million.
Yeah, 1 million.
$1 million.
To the Premier?
yeah.
No. To
After
the
hearing
province.
about a $1.5 billion lottery draw, $1 million just all of a sudden doesn't sound like much anymore, especially coming from a guy like Kevin O'Leary. But yeah, he offered $1 million, I think, to
To the
put it
Conservative
towards.
Party.
I thought it was put it towards the oil industry somehow.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, if the Premier of
Are you
Alberta.
Googling this, Jim?
Yeah.
That's relevant, or are you again just checking your
Yeah,
Facebook
okay,
status?
so that's how things go on the Crew Live. We're going to use our devices to try to keep some facts and figures accurate. And if our facts and figures aren't accurate, then Google it yourself and send us a note. And maybe we'll correct it in the future, but maybe we don't care if
Maybe
we're wrong
we don't
either.
So what does it say?
Okay, the man who made a name for himself, belittling and berating wannabe entrepreneurs on CBC's Dragon Den, decided to do the same this week to the Premier of Alberta, Rachel Notley. Mr. O'Leary announced that he was prepared to invest $1 million in the province's energy sector.
I think it's supposed to be your pinky next.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
I was
right?
gonna say,
Yeah, see, I don't watch many movies.
Liar.
If Miss Notley agreed to resign. Okay, so he wants her to resign. He's going to put $1 million into the province's energy sector. That's quite a foray into the political world for somebody who's got so much influence.
Well, he's also said, after seeing what Trump's doing, that he wants to maybe start to run for the Conservative Party as well. So
You know,
That was
Right.
pretty. That had to
He's
be
been
pretty off the
straightforward
cuff.
with that.
I'm going to assume that was totally off the
So it
cuff.
was Trump's first time.
you
Yeah.
know that when he gives an offer like that, it's also huge for publicity, right? We're talking about him. He's, he Googled it right away and it was on there.
advertising, man.
Like I
Advertising's
don't
always
think
good.
that's something that he thinks is, oh yeah, that's going to happen. I'm gonna forfeit $1 million, and this leader's gonna step down. It's not gonna happen.
No, but he's got his name out there
Right,
again, and
so-
in the political circles.
So he could have said 10 million.
He should have, because
was-
$1
right.
million is a joke. It's
Well,
a drop in the
especially
bucket for him at this
Drop in the
point.
barrel for the oil, like it's nothing. It's zero. It's almost
The
Yeah,
barrel.
it's
close to
it's
zero
close
as
to zero.
possible.
We could each throw in $20 and it would have the same effect. And in fact, it's interesting because the Globe and Mail article we're looking at here, the reason Alberta's economy is in shambles is not because the electorate voted for the New Democrats last spring. It's because the bottom fell out of the global oil market, pure and simple. So yeah, what is his $1 million going to do? So it's got to be, which
It's advertising.
yeah. It
Yeah.
is.
Preliminary advertising for his campaign.
And a write-off.
He's never going to spend the money.
Yeah,
a
and
donation.
if it's not, like, I don't know if he's going to be political or not. I have no idea. But even if it isn't, it's press. It makes him more famous. People know who he is. It's even more now. He's
More
in the
relevant,
news
his
again.
name's worth more in
Maybe his
business.
name
Right.
hasn't been in the news for a long time. I don't know, and now it is.
Well,
and I think he would say to us all right now, you really think I care about more publicity and press?
But he does.
Unless he's
Well,
going
that's
to
his-
run.
Well, that's his
Always
job,
cares.
though, isn't it? His
Yeah.
job is to be the famous guy on TV, and also
Famous
whatever
rich
else.
guy.
He's also got a large businesses and corporations he's
Right.
running at the same time. But again, just to be out there so people know who you are right away when you walk in the room, that's a big selling point to put yourself as the big dog walking into a meeting, right? So
well, how does this Notley feel as a politician in Canada when this guy's offering $1 million for her to get out?
I think
Like-
that's just the Conservatives just don't like her. So that's all.
Is that right?
It's
I think she probably knows she's on her way out anyway. So
should probably not talk about politics here, but
So,
Conservatives.
is it possible that Kevin O'Leary doesn't like females in politics?
I can't imagine that being true, actually.
I would like to imagine that being true.
You can take that side of it.
Yeah.
I think he more leans towards just, again, he's atypical conservative mentality, but he's more intelligent than half the conservative mentality that argues their points, where he's actually understands what he's saying. So
isn't
Well-
politics kind of boring? Why are we talking about politics?
It is.
It's a little boring.
It is
I mean,
boring.
well, you know what? Right away, I got to take that back because last night I watched the debate with Trump in it.
How was it?
And why did I watch it?
Because
Because it's not boring. It's super entertaining because it's Trump.
so
And I didn't catch all of it, but what I did catch was pretty entertaining. The stuff I had caught earlier in the day about Trump, calling the audio technician at his speech a bastard because he did such a bad job hooking up the audio.
did he really?
Yeah,
That's
kind
kinda
of
cool.
like it took you an hour to get this set up.
yeah, well, Kevin O'Leary is going to give that bastard $1 million to quit.
You guys never heard that?
No.
With Trump?
No.
And what's wrong with him calling him a bastard?
Well, nothing. He was giving a speech, and the microphone was crackling. You could hear it a little bit, and just right in the middle, he's like, and by the way, I hate this microphone. He said, I think we're not going to pay the guy who did this. The bastard who set this up, he said, we're not paying him. He's like, George, don't pay this guy. It's a terrible job. And the audience is laughing and just soaking it up and clapping, and it was
But why
really
is it autistic?
entertaining.
Like, what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
That guy shouldn't be paid. He didn't do his job. He
Exactly,
shouldn't
and
be paid.
that's
but
what he said.
He vilified him in national TV,
Yes.
and this
Well-
poor guy. Maybe it wasn't the guy's fault. Maybe it was the.
Then he can defend that later.
He
but
didn't slam his
one
name.
job
He didn't
was
say
to
his
get that thing
company.
running.
You know,
So
That's his job.
okay, he didn't. He judged the whole thing with one little glimpse. he had a glimpse that right now my microphone's not working. Was it working the first minute? Was it working the first 20 seconds?
All he said the whole time, I can hear it popping in my ear, and he was really pissed off.
Yeah.
And he went on literally for 60 seconds about the microphone, not paying. Don't pay someone. I'm all for paying, he said. But if someone's not doing a good job, don't pay them. Basically what you said. He had one job to make a microphone work. So, whatever.
I think
Are
if
you
you're
worried about
dealing with
hurting the
something
poor
like that,
guy's feelings?
I am.
It might not be his fault.
Is he a professional?
It actually might not be
Is he
his
getting
fault.
paid to do his job?
Yes, but
It
it might not
is,
be his
So
fault.
he shouldn't have to worry about his feelings.
I'm worried about his feelings.
Yeah,
I
Why
think
would you worry about somebody's feelings?
because
if
I
they're
can't
doing their
imagine.
job?
I can't imagine if I was that microphone technician and
How do you know that it's his fault though? Here's an example. Jim set up these cameras, set up
Yes.
this microphone,
And if
and
all goes bad, nothing's recorded.
as we started, apparently it's working, right?
we think we don't know.
Yeah, and then, but all of a sudden, if that camera stops working for some reason, and Jim set it up right, but maybe there's a defect, maybe it's something in the program. I don't know how this stuff works, but anyways, so it stops working. That's not his fault. So if that same thing happened
Right.
with that microphone guy, he doesn't have the right to bitch him out.
It is his fault. He's supposed to know the pros and cons, the abilities and power of his tools he's using. So if the mic, maybe that microphone he's using is prone to this issue, he shouldn't be using that mic.
Yeah, it might be his fault, but I don't know if it is. And then, like he said, I think that's a waste of time. If you're up there and you're in front of the whole country and internationally now, you're watching Canada, why would you use that time to bitch about the guy with the microphone as opposed to talk about
Because
issues?
He just
that are-
endeared a lot of people towards him, and he entertained us, and he's an entertainer.
And he also used his business skills right there, saying this guy didn't do his job, he's not going to get paid
just
for it.
making a political example, right?
He's making
Yeah.
an example saying,
Right, you want to get paid, do work.
do
Do the
right
quality
work.
work.
Do quality work.
So is
you
that
don't
the
get
message
paid,
you really
period.
wanted to relay?
He's not a stupid man.
No, because I think the microphone fault is Trump's fault. If, as he said, as Rich said about Trump, that it's been going on since I had the microphone on, they do sound checks on these things. If it was crackling then, Trump, speak up. You're not afraid to speak up. So he should have said, hey, my microphone's crackling, instead of waiting.
The only thing I'm unsure is how far he was into this speech, whether it was 5 minutes, 20 minutes, a half hour. I assume it was only a few minutes, and maybe he didn't. Maybe he thought it would go away. But who cares? I started that whole topic because it's entertaining.
To make
I
politics
said,
entertaining.
why are we talking about politics? It's not entertaining.
And do you actually think Trump cares to be president, or he's just there for fun?
Well, is he,
Absolutely.
I think he cares
is he
to be.
leading the Republican
think so?
I do.
nomination right now?
It's a
Where
little
is
bit
he right now?
closer. He was
Let's take a
like
look.
way
Let's ask
ahead,
Uncle Google.
but now it's a lot closer with Cruz, the guy who was born in Alberta,
Right, two American parents, though,
to
right?
American parents.
The,
Yeah.
the guy with the two guns.
And
He can
Trump,
really do it,
he
yeah.
brought that up last night.
Where is
Trump
guns
brought that
in the
up.
political
He brought it up
polls?
last night that he shouldn't even be running because he was born in Alberta.
Right.
But they
But
clarified.
he's still an American.
Yeah,
Born American, yes.
mother was American, so it was
Father
all
was
good.
American,
Yeah.
Well, I quite frankly enjoy this kind of politics that Rich says is entertaining. I see no problem with him jumping in and be entertaining, but I do believe, like Matt asked the question, you think he's serious about wanting to be president?
I can't imagine. Not with everything coming out of his mouth. I think he's just having a good time. I think he's got his own agenda for being there, but I can't imagine he's trying to be president with the way he's talking. He's not stupid.
I'm sure people have talked about it, but that's the first time I've heard that even mentioned, that he's not even for real. Did you read that somewhere?
That's
or
a
just-
lot of work, man. That's a lot of effort.
Being
and
president?
energy.
Yeah.
No. Yes, that is obviously
Oh.
too, but
Is he running his show right now, though? He's got time. He's having a good time. What's his show called again? that he
The
did?
Apprentice. No,
The Apprentice. It hasn't been on
NBC
for
made him
at
stop.
least a year.
He couldn't run it because it was an unfair advantage over his competitors to
So,
have the platform.
Exactly. So now this is his show right now.
Yeah.
He's having a good time.
Well, Wall Street Journal says, as of 15 hours ago, Donald Trump widens his lead in Republican presidential race.
Widens it. Awesome.
Businessman top Senator Ted Cruz by 13 points in a poll with less than 3 weeks to go before the first primary votes.
Now, you and I did talk about this before. You had a theory that you figure Trump's not going to end up winning his party because everyone who drops off as they go and get down to the last couple candidates is going to throw their votes to anybody but Trump. Do you still feel that way?
I think as the candidate field narrows, we will see other supporters give their support to men and women still left in the race, and Trump will lose.
You're talking about the
Through
other
that.
the other candidates.
Other
are gonna
candidates
say,
in the
are
Republican-
literally going to say, "I'm out. Give your vote to anybody
Absolutely.
but not Trump."
I think so.
And you think his people will listen?
I think they will.
Yeah.
If they're already their supporters and they pull out, they're supporting their candidate because they don't want Trump in, or they would already be supporting Trump.
Well, to kind of think about the whole U.S. federal election, which is boring and just as I think it is a little bit, but they still have Hillary Clinton at a 2-1 favorite to be the president. You can put your money down if you want. 2-1 to be the favorite. So maybe the Republican nomination isn't that important anyways.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be a wise decision to have her as president too, though?
I don't know.
I don't think she's there for the right mental
What would
state.
Kevin O'Leary say about a woman leading?
Again, I don't think he cares about the woman, but it's your intent, and I can't imagine she's going there for the right reasons. She's just
But
seems...
the money's on her right now.
Well, yeah.
People are
Who
putting
else?
money on it.
I don't know. I don't know who else is even a close second on her party
Actually,
side.
who is that one guy on her side?
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders.
He's
Oh.
intelligent. He's got a skill set.
Was
Yeah.
that the guy on the Barbara Walter special?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's a democratic socialist, is I believe how he
Yeah.
defines
He was very
himself.
endearing on that
Yeah.
show.
He's
Yeah.
intelligent. He's
Yeah.
Well, what was his
Why are we
close?
talking about? I don't like that they were talking about American politics. I have
okay.
to interject here.
Okay, the one thing that
All right.
closed the Bernie Sanders thing, his closing words on this Walter special, what do you want to be remembered as? And I believe what he said is compassion.
Yeah.
Which was pretty interesting from an old politician. Okay, let's
Like
pull
Obama.
something.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's pull something else in then.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Topic was our list. We were coming up with
You don't need a list.
possible list of topics we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
need
Well, how
lists.
about here something in the news? What about this? There's no black actors nominated for Academy Awards. There's 20 actor nominations with supporting men.
So
and
we were
female.
just talking about world leaders and
yeah.
the economy, and now we're giving
Oscars.
shit about
Oscars.
That's right.
actors.
Well, this-
Oscars.
People are here to entertain
Why
us.
is this form? Is this form about the R form? Is this about?
Okay. Before we get to that,
informed?
do they actually need awards, or are they not getting paid?
Are you suggesting
when
there's
they're
a lot of
acting?
difference between the American politics and actors anyway,
Why,
and what
yes.
they really do? They do the same. They're all just about media and attention. But this question you're asking,
Yeah, just because it came up today. I heard it today.
I had
There's people up in arms that there's no black nominations in the actor categories, and
I don't know all the movies, but maybe there's the numbers weighed better that they just didn't work out that way. I can't
maybe there's
imagine
no
Hollywood
qualified
is racist anymore.
nominates. What's the word you
Nominees?
use? Nominees.
Nominees.
Yeah.
That works.
Let's use it.
Maybe
I like
more qualified
nominants.
nominees.
Nominants.
I like to make
I
up
like.
words.
No, that's probably in there.
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to talk about that without knowing exactly. You don't know what
Like what
performances
movies?
were worthy of getting nominated. Like, were there? What I didn't hear is that I can't believe
So and so
this guy didn't get
in. Yeah.
nominated because
Yeah.
like their performance
Okay,
was
Jim,
That's a good
That's-
point.
outstanding. and
Was
it should
there
have
one
been-
particular black actor that should be in the top?
Yeah. Is there
Whatever.
anybody they specifically dissed, like Justin Bieber? I know he's not black,
Oh my
but you
God.
know how he always gets dissed at the Grammys.
Well, I
Never
saw
wins.
if you've seen The Big Short, which is really good.
Actually, I just saw
Good
that's
show.
Yeah.
Steve Carell didn't get nominated, and I thought his performance was off the charts.
He was
So I
solid,
mean,
yeah.
and
It's crazy, but yeah.
he's not black, obviously, and that's a slight to him. Like I think he probably deserved it, but there's only 5 spots.
Yeah.
There aren't 20 per
Right.
category. There's 5.
Yeah.
So
Per
it's pretty
category.
narrow.
And there are some big movies,
Yeah.
and
It's like they're not
The
picking
Big
up.
Short is
Me-
one of them. What?
Maybe
What's another
Revenant.
one? The Revenant.
The
And then
Revenant.
there were a lot of black guys in
The
Revenant.
Room. Well, yeah,
The
they're
Room?
just. I don't think there was any black actors who were
Saw The
even
Revenant.
close to having
Yeah, not that I heard of it. I haven't.
earning the props.
I'd have to see all.
What the hell are you doing there? Jim?
Just showing the camera these black actors that didn't get nominated.
I would have to see all the.
Okay,
movies,
let me
I
see.
guess.
Oh,
Oh,
Will Smith. Though,
Will didn't even get a nomination.
Oh yeah, Will Smith. For,
I haven't seen the
it.
concussion, but it
You know
looks
what?
good.
Yeah.
The concussion was okay, and
Just okay.
in my opinion,
That's Ice Cube's
in
kid.
my expert movie opinion, Will Smith did an excellent
Yeah.
job of giving an accent, a Rwandan accent. I don't know, what was he?
Speaking of that, I got to interject. One of the themes for one of our future Crew Live shows is Accent Day. So we'll have to, we'll all have to
Bring an accent.
bring an accent. Yeah.
That'll take
It's
some practice.
And it's not
That's
to
awesome.
mock those with accents, but it's so that we can feel what it's like to have an accent.
I
Okay,
like
so
it.
he did a good job.
And why not?
Yeah, so looking at that list
please.
again,
Yeah.
I mean, as if they were ever gonna give a nod to Straight Outta
Some of these
Compton.
people are.
You know, Straight Outta
That's a good
Compton.
movie.
You know,
And
I was disappointed.
Yeah, and I heard that Creed kid. That
I mean,
could
they
be.
keep
I heard the movie was good, but
I mean, they already.
I'm sure
how
they're
good?
fine.
It's still.
Are you blocking me out? I don't.
Blocking
Maybe
you.
maybe at the
You
end
know
of
what?
it.
So awards.
All this, in my opinion, all this list is for pretty decent movies that had black actors in them, and so those are the 4 guys they threw on the front page
But
there
each category-
who didn't get the nod.
You seen them? These movies?
Rich, your phone is distracting with the light going on.
I've
fast.
seen all of them.
You've seen all the movies?
I don't know who that guy
You
is.
saw Will Smith? I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that guy is. I don't know what that is. Yes, I saw Concussion, and
That's the guy from Creed, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like the guy from Creed. He's
Yeah.
got boxing
There were
gloves
more
in his hands.
opportunities, including Creed, Straight Outta Compton, Chirac, as well as Beasts of No Nation.
But I can't imagine that he's going to get an award
More
for Creed. He's not. It's not like the original Rocky.
No.
The original Rocky's the only one that got an award.
Stallone was nominated
Stallone-
for Best Supporting Actor.
He actually got an award for Creed, and what was that other awards ceremony?
The Golden
Golden
Globes.
Globes.
Golden Globes. He got one.
Okay, but before you go on, you got to read that name of that person there that's in it.
I'm not going to say that in public. That's inappropriate.
I don't know that guy there,
This one here, yeah.
Gary Fukunaga.
Hey,
Fukunaga.
that's a good name.
Fukunaga?
Sounds
Gary
Japanese.
Fukunaga. That does. It's Fukunaga.
Apologize for butchering your name, but you
Yeah.
deserve the nod anyway.
But you're
so-
probably not watching
He's
the
not
show, so
watching.
you should be fine.
Yeah,
He will. We'll send him a
give
link.
him a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, send him a link.
So for me, it always comes down to numbers. You were kind of alluding to it earlier. You know, there's probably 20 or 40 guys who even had consideration, and if only 1 or 2 of them or 5 of those 40 actors were black, odds are they're not going to get nominated
for us, it's-
unless they had an amazing performance.
For us, it's not a big deal, I don't think, and it's
Well, because there were 4 white guys sitting there, so
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I think for us, we don't identify with it as much, and we don't think about it all that much, and we just kind of go on. And actually, here's another topic that's very similar. That we wouldn't have even thought about it had this not been brought up.
I'm not actually thinking about it anymore. It's gone already.
I know. Had I not read an
But what
article,
would you have said if there was 1 white guy and 4 black guys nominated for the Oscars? Would we have said white guys were ignored?
Yeah,
I don't-
we
I
probably
don't
would
think
have.
so.
Because that's what
We wouldn't have been allowed
Can
to.
I go back to not caring, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Other
These
than
guys are
this
getting paid
show-
for the jobs they did already,
Yeah.
so
Other
I don't
than
care
this
if they get an
show-
award anymore.
But you know, with what you said, other than
Still.
this show, we wouldn't have been allowed to say that. Where's the white nominees?
Mhm.
You know, that's
Right.
not allowed. In my opinion, the only black guy that should have got a nomination this year is Kevin Hart.
What show is he in?
He's funny.
He's a comedy.
He's a
He's a
short,
comedian
funny
guy.
guy.
Right along.
and he's not.
Oh, he's not nominated?
Get Hard with
Okay.
Will Smith.
Okay, so see Kevin Hart's
Not Will
movies
Smith.
and you'll see a real Oscar
Yeah, I don't
performance,
know.
Kevin
apparently.
Hart and
never
Will
saw it.
Ferrell.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't even think you notice it. And like what I was saying is that
Sorry, man.
I think we don't even notice it. And I wouldn't notice it if there was, and like I really don't care a whole lot. But
Thank you.
if there was 4 black guys and 1 white guy, I don't really care. Throw in a couple Chinese guys or whatever, like it's not going to make a difference to me. We don't notice it. Unless you're the minority that doesn't feel like you're being represented. And I'll give you another example of this. Is just the other day, I went and watched a film festival that consisted of 12 films, Banff Film Festival, right?
Yeah,
The traveling show. And so there was 12 films that were in that show. Some of them as short as 3 to 4 minutes, some of them up to like 40 minutes. It's really cool. It's awesome. And I never thought for once about the amount of women that were shown on screen. There was one film that was about these 2 girls that were speed climbers, and that was fairly short. And then there was another one where there was one gal who was an ice climber. Okay.
I like the term gal. I got to use that more often. Thanks.
Yeah, so anyways, I didn't even think about it at all. So then the next day I'm talking with a girl that was at it, and she had taken her daughter there, and she felt like there was no women represented.
So she was offended again.
She.
Well, she noticed it. Yeah, maybe she was offended, but she had noticed that her group that she felt like wasn't being represented. So she noticed it. I didn't notice it. And then we started debating. I'm like, well, this is a traveling film festival that there was 380 submissions of film. So I don't know how many were submitted. I don't know how many had women in them.
Right.
Then it gets whittled down to 80 that do the show in Banff. And then it goes down to 25 that take the traveling show. So like I don't know how you're supposed to represent all this stuff, but
Well, you can't though. I mean,
you don't notice it unless you are the person that feels like you're being slighted or not represented. The black actors feel like they're not represented. the women feel like they're not represented. I'm not saying that's wrong. I don't even notice it.
Do you
I
think these
guarantee you
poor
none of
guys-
these guys spoke up and said,
No.
why didn't I get a nod? I don't think they really
They
care.
probably went, the actors you're up against? Yeah, no, those guys are better.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like, they know. I still find it a wee bit hard to believe there's much racism left in Hollywood.
Yeah, so is it just somebody raising up their...
Because you're not racist.
Somebody,
I'm not racist
somebody
either, and
brought
that's
up the topic
I
and
don't-
it found steam somewhere, and here it is today, and we're talking about it. And at the end of the
So
day,
not an issue, right? They really, these individuals who it impacts in their career, they don't care, is what you think.
yeah,
And it's somebody who is taking up the cause for taking up an offense on someone else's behalf, and then
Yes.
running with it.
Someone's offended again.
Offended.
See? I hate people that are offended by everything they look at. For
That's
God's
more
sake.
than annoyed, isn't
Then
it?
they can't have a conversation because as soon as somebody says, blah blah blah, oh that offends me, or even this, it's there's no black guys in the final 5 of the
Yeah.
Academy Awards. I mean, in the end, A, who gives a shit, right? It's
Right.
an award for a job they've already been paid for.
And it's art.
It's art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And B, seriously, why are these guys actually offended themselves?
that
Or
was
is
a
it
good-
just
that was a
somebody
good
said,
B.
hey,
that was a strong B point.
hey,
It's so be
Your
funny.
B
point.
and B.
and B,
And V. Are
number
they?
1, and B, Roman numeral 3. Yeah, no, I just,
Ampersand. Is
if
that
somebody
something?
is
Ampersand.
directly affected by it, then they should be upset by it. But someone sitting off to the side, watching these two people interact, they go, oh, that offends me, the way you're texting when your wife's sitting across the table from you. That offends me.
Well, like
That's not
Jennifer
her damn
Lawrence.
business.
Did you see Jennifer Lawrence at? I
don't know who Jennifer Lawrence is right now.
She is the
Come
girl.
on.
She's an actor.
I know the name.
Jennifer
Give me a
Lawrence.
movie.
J-Lo.
Hunger Games.
J-Lo. Yeah, Hunger Games.
She's a Hunger Game girl?
Yeah.
She's a Hunger
Okay,
Games
yeah,
girl.
sure.
So she
And
got
she got a nod. Go ahead.
she got an award at the Globes for her role in Joy. It's about a lady who invented an awesome mop and sold millions of dollars worth of them. Fairly good movie. And then when she's doing her after award interview,
Back to the cell phone
Right.
thing. I heard this story.
yeah, she's up on stage and somebody asking her a question. I wished I could have a camera. They could have had a camera on the guy asking the question. Was asking a question. Hey, get your face out of your cell phone. Was basically what she said. You can't live behind your cell phone. And she's
But
alone on stage.
what's the caveat here with this?
She was on her phone?
No, he was on
the
his phone.
person asking the question.
Why
from
was he
the
on his
audience.
phone?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
No, was he reading something in English that he didn't have in
English was not his first language, so he was reading the translation. The questions, he was basically reading the questions off the phone, so he said it in the right way.
Oh,
Because
geez.
English was not his first language, so he's some, I don't know where he's from, but he's reading this up and trying to get it, and I think she thought she was kind of being funny and quirky,
Right.
but
Right.
in the
I
end
don't
she
know.
came across
It
as a
felt
bitch
serious.
apparently, because he was trying to get the right, basically read the question out to her.
And
She's
two,
And
Okay, so
little I3 things.
being
the dog.
offended, I want to talk about that for a little bit. In our area here, there was a nurse that recently was called up to the mat by her union because her dad was in palliative care, her grandfather, and the grandfather passed on but had poor care, in her opinion, from the professional nurses that treated the grandfather. She then posted to Facebook a post that was a little bit judgy, critical of her I'm going to call them her colleagues, but other professional nurses, she herself being one. Now she's being called on it by her union. I'm not sure how far it's going, but it begs the question, what are you allowed to say that should get you fired
or disciplined.
Yeah, or disciplined.
Said tough to fire over that, but could be disciplined. And I think in this case, my opinion, which is important,
Yeah.
is that she gave her opinion, right? If she came back fact-based and went on the Facebook saying, okay, the nurses didn't do this when they were supposed to, technically they didn't do this when they were supposed to, technically they did this when they were
D.
supposed to, A, B, C, and 4.
Yeah.
Yes. But if she had factual, she said, basically, in my opinion, these nurses treating my grandfather sucked. And they did a shitty job, and it bothers me. And now, because she's in the same profession, she's almost saying, okay, as a whole, as a union, they have to cover their asses because they need good public publicity all the time so that they can push for their raises and maintain their employment numbers.
Well, it has to be evidence-based.
Why does that opinion have to be evidence
No,
based?
No, I'm saying that,
her statements
her
are
statements
imposing.
have to be opinion. I mean, they have to be evidence-based. You can't just say, an opinion like that's way too vague. It doesn't. You need to have facts.
It's still
I agree.
subjective though. Like
Uh,
what you do.
But not for a
just-
professional nurse. It's
No,
not
it
subjective.
can't be
I-
subjective.
Okay, so maybe I'm using subjective in the wrong
No,
way,
you
but
are.
you
You're
do
right.
a job. I do a job for Matt, and you two guys both critique my job. You might think it was fabulous, and you might think it was subpar.
Pretty
But
positive
if
guy.
you're a nurse or a professional like that, there are SOPs, like standard operating procedures, that they follow, and if they're not doing it, then they're
So
they're off the queue.
So
then
why
they're off
was
the queue.
yeah? Like I don't even know. So when someone says a statement like that, and I haven't read it or anything like that, but if she had just said she wasn't happy with the care of her grandfather while in, was it palliative care?
Yeah,
Yes,
palliative.
palliative
That's right.
care.
Yeah.
So why?
Which is a tough job
yes,
for any
very
nurse.
hard. So
That's-
why was she?
Sound like
First,
you're
to
defending
precurse this, like the experience I had there, which was not fun. I thought they did a great job
Yeah.
there. But anyways, so why was it bad? That's
I-
what you need to know. Like, why was this poor?
See, and we don't know the facts.
Was
or-
there no attention? Were they not going in and check on medications? Were they like what? Why?
Okay, so we could parse out all the particular policies and procedures for the professional nursing roles in the province, but the issue is she, as a private individual, saw her private individual grandfather, in her opinion, get poor care. Her opinion, okay, maybe it's not
But
evidence
she
based.
has a
Th-
professional opinion now.
Right.
She's not a casual
She's-
observer.
So just
She's a
because of her
professional.
designation,
Yes.
she's
Oh,
she's now
she's a professional.
she's got to now limit her opinion of what she believes to be poor care.
She needs to back it up.
She needs to back her shit up. Then yes,
Yeah. If my wife, who doesn't
If she
know about that,
documented it,
says she can, my wife could say that.
yeah, and it would mean
Who
anything.
doesn't work in the healthcare? She could go in there and say the care of so and so was not good. I'm not happy
Yeah.
with the way they treat him there. But somebody else who's a doctor or a nurse or someone that's in that field, they can't be so vague.
No. And
What
what
was-
hospital was this? Do you know? Because I've
I don't
only
think
heard
we-
good
we
things
can
about
name that
palliative
for
care
legal
most
No,
places.
don't name that hospital.
All right, all right.
We're not going to name the nurse's name, even
But
though she's on
most
Facebook.
palliative care nurses
And
are
don't
awesome.
speak
Like
of
they've
her.
got the right mental
Even though
state
she
to deal
said it
with
on
the
Facebook,
situation.
you
That's
can
right.
find it
Like I
anytime
said,
you want. We're not going to
Not
name
gonna name
her.
it here. We have some censoring we got to do.
So now here's another thing. So this is obviously someone close to her that was in palliative care. Is she even in the right state of mind to make comments? Would she?
You're
would
going
she-
way too deep.
Would she? Well, yeah. I'm
Wait,
just
This is
saying.
the Crew Live. This is where we go deep.
No,
And that's
She-
okay, yeah, I
would
hear
she
what you're
gonna,
saying.
like later, would she feel like retracting these statements? She's not in her normal.
most people do feel like retracting their
Her-
stupid statements
Yeah.
later.
her
but
normal.
she's
her normal
emotionally
state of mind.
distraught and
Yeah,
blah.
so-
Okay,
But
so
But what
maybe-
platform was she
that-
on when she bitched? Was
She
she
was-
on the platform? Like,
On
did
the
she,
Facebook.
did she have her nurse's garb on? Or was she just...
She always has her
I
nurse's
think
garb on.
I recall she identified as she's a nurse, and it's identified on her Facebook page, right? Profession.
And I read
So-
who ratted her out was like her relative.
M-
One of her like
Well,
in-laws ratted her
Well,
out.
here's the
I-
que-
I
One
have
of her
a question.
in-laws on
If
her
the
Facebook
care-
friends.
If,
took-
if the care
showed
is
us.
I have a
subpar,
question. When he's done, I have
Okay.
a question.
if the care is subpar, then she should be able to say that it was subpar. Like
Yeah.
when approached by her union, they might, and I don't know how this would work, but if they would say, "So why did you make this complaint, even though it's informal on your
Informal.
Facebook page? So why did you say this?" Well, then she could say, "Well, because of this, 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 and this."
Use letters and numbers.
And if they, so if they could back it up and say, "Yeah, this is why it was like that," then discipline action. I don't think she deserves it. If someone's making a mistake and they're professional, they can be called out.
Yeah,
Yes.
but you can't call them out publicly until you address them privately in their mistakes, right? Let's. You have a question that pertains to this.
It completely
relevant to
pertains
today?
to
Yeah.
this subject.
Okay.
So how would you ask it?
The question is, if I don't give the slightest fuck about this conversation,
Yeah.
what can I do in this setting? Do I just walk away? Do I go get a beer?
Yeah, you could go.
Do I,
get
like,
a beer.
Do
You
I
could-
have a
you-
safe word that I yell out that I want to get out of
You
this?
can
Yeah.
actually push.
What do I do?
Yeah.
Because
You could do
I
something,
could,
I guess.
I could care less.
You-
I think you have an opinion, give it. If you get in trouble, too bad for you. You shouldn't have gave your opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
Too
So
That's
bad
as
for-
far as.
Too bad for you might be losing your job.
too bad.
Too bad for you.
Let's just pick this scenario. Okay, too bad for you. Let's say I say something and I happen to work in an
Are
industry.
you trying to draw me back into this conversation?
Yeah,
I don't want to be a part of it.
Well, you have to be a part of it.
You don't
You're
have
on
a
the Crew
safe
Live.
word. There's no way
Yeah.
out.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
there's no safe word. Okay.
Yeah, there's no safe word. Actually, that's one of the rules on the Crew Live. There's no safe word. We have to talk it out.
Ah.
Okay, so let's say that I work in an industry that rescues people, and somebody didn't get the perfect rescue that they needed. Something went south, and now I go and speak out against my coworkers, colleagues on some crew live show, let's say, and say, they did a shitty job. They forgot to do this and this, and they only had 2 guys. They needed 4 guys, and
you should be reprimanded for that.
right. So
That's
Hey,
inappropriate.
he's asking me.
yeah, but
He was
not only
asking-
that, but what's going to be the repercussions of that in my work life and in my professional designation?
So we go to the policies of your business and we see if you breached any. And if you didn't, then it's all good that way. You can keep your job, but you just committed suicide as far as your job goes, and everyone's going to hate you. And too bad for you for speaking out like an idiot before you thought it through.
So the question that we started with is what's okay to say or not to say. So there has to be things that are, otherwise you have to accept the repercussion.
Yeah, or she could have been intelligent about it and had one of the other family members make that point.
Sure.
No big deal.
You
Then
know
she would be in
you know
trouble
what the problem
whatsoever.
is, and this is going to actually switch us off this onto a different topic that's
Which
the
would
same.
make Rich happy.
Amen.
Go ahead.
Amen. I should have bought a Hyundai. Why buy a Hyundai?
Hey, no religion here.
No religion.
here.
We will talk about religion
Yeah.
at some point.
And the interesting thing is that, and I've kind of stayed away from this. I'm not on Facebook. I don't Twitter. I don't do these things. These avenues,
Snapchat.
and this is probably the
Snapchat.
furthest I've gone to something like that, is to be vulnerable and put out your opinions like this, right? They get people in so much shit because you pick up your phone and you tweet when you're hot. You tweet when you're in a state when you shouldn't. Like, how many stupid athlete tweets have there been? How many, and that's what you get yourself in trouble, right? So that's what this girl did, is she put her stuff on Facebook when she probably wasn't thinking right, and in retrospect, she might have changed her opinion. We've got this weird thing now where you can like instantly put it out there, like classic, like Lance Armstrong. I don't know if you remember, but he was obviously got in trouble with all the drugs. And
Is this too much sports or no?
no, this is good. This isn't too much sports.
Okay, continue.
So this is what happened.
I don't think that he's talking
And it-
about a sport anyways.
and
He's
it
not
talks about
biking.
Biking.
Yeah, not a sport.
so anyway, so then we talk about making the wrong decision, and he would have went back. So what he did was, he was under, still when he was in denial, he was denying that he wasn't taking drugs, which you obviously know he took drugs for all these Tour de France wins. And he has 7 yellow jerseys up there, which each represent one of his wins. And what he did was, he took a picture of himself lying back on his couch, and you could see the 7 jerseys in the back, and he tweeted it. He was just throwing it in everyone's face, and the thing was, he wouldn't have done that had he
That was
thought about it
before
along-
that he was
before
at-
he got caught.
Right, before he got caught.
They were like massive
Accusations
suspicions.
were out already.
Accusations were getting to
Yeah.
a peak,
Yeah.
and he was still denying it. And he said, "I'm still doing good. I'm relaxing." I can't remember what his tweet was, and he sent out this picture. You know what I mean? And then he wished he wouldn't have done it. So maybe this girl thinks like that. Like, I don't know. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook. I don't know what it feels like to resist sending out a tweet. This guy's an asshole, or this. You know what I mean? Or this is going on, or.
So all the way back, we've reverted
to
all the
say-
way back to the start of the show and phone etiquette.
No, not that. It's,
It's
well,
when
it's so,
to use your phone
Yeah, but people.
to blow off
Yeah.
your...
Okay, well, do you lose your shit when you're driving sometimes? You roll down your window and yell at people?
No,
Really?
really, I
Oh,
don't.
good for you.
Good for you.
I
Dude.
don't. I laugh most often.
All right.
I don't.
You've
So
never had road rage.
You do roll down your window and yell shit at
I
people.
shouldn't, but every now and then I kind of lose it a bit. And I
Yeah.
really don't feel good about it when I do. And I
So
feel
you're-
like I lose when
So
I
do
do
you
that.
regret it later?
I don't. I see. I not really regret. I
Feel
feel like I
you
lose
lose?
because then they're doing something stupid,
You're being
and
affected by
they're
someone else's
drawing
actions.
a reaction from me.
They controlled you in a
They
sense,
control
right?
me, and when
Yeah.
they shouldn't really exist to me. Like I try and drive that way, just treating them all like it's a video game, and they're not actually real
So
people.
would you
because it drives
call
me batty.
typically the person's action, you would call it stupid?
Extremely?
Matt's
Yeah.
annoyed by
And-
stupid people.
But
Yeah.
yeah, he's got nothing against stupidity apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, I have lots
Come
of
on,
good
man! You gotta
stupidity.
put those stupid people in their place. Don't feel bad after. You have that right.
And you
They
vented?
do
You have
live
the
their own
right-
Stupid
No,
little
but yeah, they're
lives, and it
controlling
shouldn't-
you. It shouldn't
they're-
be affected. That's
Thank
the
you. That's
one,
where I feel.
This is one thing I hate the most. Like, not the most, but one thing I really do hate is when other people's stupid actions cause me to feel something that I don't want to feel,
Yes.
Mhm.
whatever it is.
And if
Right.
you hold on to it, like seriously, you lose your shit for a bit, and then for half an hour later, you're still thinking about that moment, and really, they're so insignificant that actually you're losing if you're spending 30 minutes being upset or put out or even thinking about
So
this
how
person.
should you respond? Like, what's your mechanism under the human condition to say, I should?
Take
What's
a
the
breath
should?
and move on, man.
No.
Is that a should? What, is there really...
You got to put them in their place because you know what? They're going to go and they're
They're
going to
not gonna
drive
learn,
and they're
man.
going to
They're
piss
not
somebody else off and then somebody else and then somebody
don't
else.
learn.
They're
And
never
then
gonna
all of a
change.
sudden
it becomes
it's
normalized behavior.
Okay.
They're not changed.
Okay, who's married on this show? I'm married. Okay, what if you saw some dude doing that to your wife who cuts him off? Do you do it to ladies, Matt?
Do I do it to ladies?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Usually jackasses with their little goatee and their
Okay.
weird little hat and their weird little license plates.
I don't know.
Batty.
It's the middle-aged teen women that I see doing the worst driving.
Middle-aged teen, like 2 categories, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, not middle-aged. Teen women and middle 20s.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Worst drivers.
Yeah.
So you
flip them
don't
off.
think women should drive or vote, you say?
What are you, Kevin O'Leary?
All right then.
How did we get on this? I want to know more about who's on. So, I want to know more about the quick reaction to sending out a message or like
See,
emails too. Like, sorry, I am on email, right? So,
I hope so.
Oh, you are, hey?
well, I get it, but I've seen some emails in a professional setting that I just thought you cannot take that back. You just sent that email to 200 people or 300 or 100 or whatever it is.
Yeah. And it's out there now.
It's out there. You can feel the wrath of what's going to happen after you put out that email, and it's these new
Yeah.
avenues to do that changed it.
Okay, you can't talk about them as new anymore.
This new email technology is crazy.
The darn interweb thing.
I'm only 39. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So it's only been 15 years since email's been
No,
around.
but you know what I mean. Like,
Well,
are you?
You're right in that wheel well that you should have invented some of this new technology.
Yeah, no,
39.
I get it, and I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not technologically adverse. I don't think, but what I do think is that I'm glad I don't have that avenue to put out a tweet.
So what do you?
I'm going to tweet
'Cause you're
something
g-
stupid.
you're gonna react.
So you
instead
want
of
to
thinking through.
you want to teach more self-discipline on the internet and social media.
I want to teach more self-discipline. That you're talking about my entire life. I want to teach more self-discipline in
Globally.
everything.
Yeah.
See?
That's-
Good for you. That's positive.
Our number one thing that we're
Our
Why don't you
first
guys
positive
hug?
thing today.
Matt and Curtis are going to have a hug now.
If you want to get on, if you want to get onto that,
said
sorry,
hug.
I was ignoring you.
No, sorry.
If you want to change topics, this would be
No,
like
I
could
like.
talk about this
I
forever.
don't want to. I'm waiting
Alright.
to chime in
Oh, okay.
actually because I love that topic.
So that's probably one of my favorite topics, and which is
Which?
fairly broad. Self-discipline.
So how does self-discipline affect my response if I pick up my Twitter thing and start punching away? Or like, what is the underlying reason that I can't control myself and I gotta get my message out?
You're not showing any
I
discipline
can't
or
believe
patience.
that Matt said this.
Yeah, you're not patient. You don't have.
So
maybe,
where did I? How did I
quote-unquote-
lose my patience? Why didn't I learn patience?
Okay. When you get, I know you like to buy things on the Google
Yeah.
and whatever the
Amazon
computer thing,
Prime.
Amazon. When a
This
package
show
comes,
might proudly be sponsored by Amazon Prime.
oh my God.
Amazon's gonna own the world.
When you get your Amazon purchase, are you just leave it on the table for a day,
Oh,
or do you like
gosh,
rip that
no.
thing open?
Yeah, it's a shred fest.
Can you not ever just leave it on the table, and go, and then get back to it?
What's the purpose of that?
Yeah.
Teaching yourself patience and
Yeah.
Do you know,
self-discipline.
actually, I do, and this is partly in my relationship, I do purposely leave it so if Ange needs me for some, if my partner, I guess I could say her name, if Ange needs me for something, then I don't want to make my package more important because I had the enjoyment of looking for it.
My wife always says my package is probably the most important thing.
But she just shreds it. I had the enjoyment of looking for it, pulling the trigger when I bought it, and seeing it come through on my Visa, waiting for it to show up, showing up, and bring it in. If I can't restrain myself, I don't want to a lot of times because I'm excited to open it. So it's about that patience thing. I want to just get it done.
And self-discipline.
Yeah, and self-discipline.
So next time you really want something, if you want to teach yourself self-discipline, don't use Amazon. Just order it from China. It'll be here in 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
See how you feel.
That's
That's a good way to teach self-discipline. Don't
No, it
order
doesn't.
from
It's
Amazon.
patience, right?
You're not making the conscious choice anymore, though.
You're making a conscious
No, you're
choice.
not.
You're
Just
saying,
take
I'm
it
going to
over
wait
for a
2
ride.
months.
Yeah.
You
I'm
just leave it on your
purposely
table and look at
going to
it.
make
Yeah.
myself wait 2 months.
That's something super cool in there.
And it's not all like when you're talking about self-discipline and maybe it's willpower. I don't know what it is, but
Five, two.
pardon me.
Sorry, I was just giving a time check to
Oh,
Matt.
time check.
Time check.
And I think too, I think we're always looking for, this is kind of shifting a little bit, but we're always looking for the easy way. And so it's easier to just pick up your phone and send it out now as opposed to not doing it. It's easier to order your food than it is to go to the grocery store, pick it up, make it, and eat it. It's easier. The easier way is in my opinion, is the wrong way.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
It's better to do the hard way.
So
damn those cavemen who invented the wheel, right? They just wanted life easier.
That's right. That's all we do is try to make life easier.
Right, that's what the human nature is.
First world problem.
Do you always try to make... Can you think of a situation where you intentionally... Like, I'm weird, so I do it. But can you think of a time when you intentionally try to make things harder? Instead of taking the easy way, you intentionally do it the hard way because it's going to be harder.
and it makes you a better man.
Never. I will intentionally always find the shortest route, the shortest distance between A and 1. I will get there as fast as I can. It's my job to do it as fast as I can and solve that problem and get it out of the way and move on to the next thing. And that's how I'm built.
But that's often not the best way.
Right, I think that's the wrong way. Yeah, I think it is.
So basically you're just both personally attacking me and how I'm built, how I'm completely wired.
Are we allowed to judge each other on the crew live?
So here, if there's...
So you think...
I want you for next time, I want you to give an exact example.
My hand's cool. So it's freezing outside today. It's minus 25 or whatever it is.
Cold in here.
Celsius.
Cold in here,
And...
nose is running.
Oh, you can't tell.
If there's a big snowfall, is it better to use the snowblower? Or is it, I'm not saying easier or harder, I'm saying we obviously know that it's easier to use the snowblower and it's harder to use a shovel. Is it better to use the snowblower or is it better to shovel?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
Personally, last night I came home with my wife at 10 o'clock from visiting my parents for supper and I see that my boys hadn't shoveled the walk yet. I grabbed the shovel and I got out of the car first, grabbed the shovel and shoveled the whole walk in about 4 minutes as fast as I could, came out and literally passed out. I was out of breath. So as fast and as quick.
That was a skiff. That was a skiff.
And that wasn't heavy snow.
That's a skiff of snow, not much snow.
Well, that's the way I'll always treat snow. Yeah. So what did you just learn about me? Did I do it the right way or the wrong way?
You did the fastest way.
Okay, I did first question, do you have a snowblower?
I have one. But
okay. That was a good question to ask because if you didn't have one, you have no choice but shovel.
It took too much work to get it fixed.
Like I've intentionally never bought one.
I've never bought one either.
So you were anticipating I was going to say I'm a snowblower guy. I'll just get her done the easy way.
But I'm just saying that there's a lot of people. I'm not saying you're lazy or any of that stuff, but
no. And I won't get offended.
Quite often, people, like you said, you always want to do it the easy way. Would you say if you had to go...
I didn't necessarily mean the easy way. I mean the fastest, most efficient, quickest, get it out of the way.
It's easier to drive to work than it is to walk.
Yeah, and it's faster and more efficient.
Most often, yes.
Yeah.
But you lose efficiency by losing your body's skill set because you become weak.
Just by driving?
Yes, just by driving.
So Matt doesn't want cars to exist either.
Matt's going to sell his Ducati. Check out your Craigslist. I think there's going to be a Ducati on there for like $2,000 because he's going to start jogging to work instead.
I like walking.
Okay, so what it sounds like is that everybody who doesn't take the hard way is going to end up lazy, flabby, and not able to function.
Actually, Jim, they're going to go to hell because the road to hell is paved and wide, is it not?
In good intentions, in easy intentions.
Yeah.
No, seriously though, the whole topic of saying we should be avoiding or pushing back against technology or innovations that make things easier for us to live. Like we can't be splitting hairs then, or then we should split hairs, I'm sorry, because there's so many things we choose because we don't want to, how did you put your socks and shoes on this morning? Standing up on one leg because it's harder, or did you sit down? Or
I stood up on one leg.
I did them both at the same time because it's faster and more efficient.
Not because it's harder, but just anyways.
Actually, I think it's good to try it because we're getting older. Some of us
that's good for our brain, true.
But it teaches your balance every morning. So you stand on one leg and put your sock on because there's some point when you're old and weak, you might not be able to do that. So keep training yourself, right?
And just so you know, imbalance in the aged is due to inner ear changes in our inner ear.
I think it has a lot to do with our lack of usability too. I think most balance skills and coordination skills are because nobody uses anything anymore. We sit on our couch, order pizza, and watch TV.
Well, but that's not true. Like we're walking daily and balancing, going up and down stairs. All of us.
Who's walking?
Who's walking?
Well, I walked out from the garage out from the house to the garage studio.
Good. That was a big walk.
Yeah, I walked through the parking lot at the strip mall the other day.
See, but people think that's walking. I keep hearing people say that. Oh, my office, I had to walk all the way down the hall and back every day to get to the photocopier. It's like that's not exercise.
100 years
that's
ago,
not
that's
walking.
impossible. You
Yeah.
die.
But my understanding is that's not what is going
Die.
to help us
Photocopier
have.
kill them? What do you mean you die? A photocopier would have been an alligator.
There wouldn't be yeah.
And I just want to clarify, I don't come home and sit on the TV and order, or sit on the couch and order pizza and watch TV.
Okay.
I go pick up the pizza on my way home because it's
That's
more
good.
efficient,
More efficient and faster.
and
You
I don't
get your
have to
pizza
wait
quicker.
for the pizza guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think we can resolve this one, but ultimately, humans do have that predisposition to choose the easier way out. Whether it's good or bad for us, we don't know. But the human race has survived a long time with that
Yeah, but the
mentality.
easier
Becoming
way.
weaker.
Yeah,
More
but
fragile.
Compared to what?
And who defines easier anyways?
Yeah, it's becoming weaker. If you look at mortality rates in the first century BCE and even the 15th century AD,
That's different.
That's weak. People were dying at 35, 45, 54, 55 years old.
That's different healthcare, different care, different foods.
Disease.
We're carrying,
Are there more diseases
we're
now?
carrying people now that shouldn't be alive. We are, man.
You're looking for a culling.
I don't think you said. I don't think you said should like. Yeah, they don't. You didn't say shouldn't be alive, as in they don't deserve to live. That's what it sounded like.
I know it sounds a little harsh,
Yeah, they
but it's
shouldn't-
reality.
When you say shouldn't be alive, you just mean that they wouldn't exist.
They wouldn't
otherwise.
exist in a harsher environment. We didn't care for them.
Yeah.
But just
If
to
we didn't feed, if we didn't have such great doctors and care and medical and health, our population would thin out really fast. So
Well, you can
That's
exist.
true.
You can exist without breaking a sweat. You can get up in the morning. You can have your meals at home. Drive to work. Go in the parkade. Get in the elevator. Go to your office job, which never existed for a long time. Now consider an office and consider a computer.
doing nothing.
Evil technology again, which is really not my thing, but it's apparently maybe it isn't good, right? So you sit at your computer, then you order your lunch. Some guy brings you your lunch. You don't even have to move. Then you go back down. You get in your car. You go home. You maybe cook some prefab meals there, or you order something in, and that's your day. Like you don't. You're not
that's
even.
a bingo.
You're not
It's
even.
not real,
That's
man.
me.
You're not even physical. It's so bad. And you're
Where's your evidence to say that it's so bad, though? I understand the mindset that because in ages past we used to have to be hunters and gatherers and be out, and we didn't have any luxury items.
Yeah, but
and so that was somehow better because we're using our physicality more. But if it's so bad, then we should see a lower mortality rates. Even if we remove the medical interventions, we'd still have a densely populated world.
Because we have grocery stores with every kind of food for pennies.
Yeah, so I can walk a block to my grocery store, or even drive.
You'd probably
and get
drive,
the groceries.
yeah.
I can live that life, Curtis, that you just described, and have a satisfying, engaging life into my
Would it
80s.
really be satisfying?
would it really be? I don't think it is.
So, of course it is. For many
it's
people,
not.
it is.
It's
No.
clearly just your
They don't
guys'
know any
opinion
better.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
That
satisfying
wouldn't be
for a lot
right.
of
That
people.
wouldn't be satisfying for you or
No.
for you.
I mean, the basis of this entire show is clearly showing that everybody has their own opinion on pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But some are wrong, Rich. Some are wrong.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
I think the human body was designed to move and move
Yes.
quite often. And our evolution, depending on how long you think the body's been around, is not caught up to what we do as far as technology, right? As
Yeah.
far as changing our lives, right? As what we do
We
on a
haven't
daily
grown big
basis.
baldios eyes yet for the computer screen.
No, we
so
haven't.
yeah.
Well, what we should have is these huge fat asses so we can sit down for longer and
That's what's starting to develop,
starting
actually,
to develop.
yeah.
Actually, it's happening. So
Yes. We're
Well,
changing.
there's cultures though that had large asses though, and they never sat down. And there's
because
and-
it was muscle.
Well, that may be the case for some of them. And I understand your point that we're designed to move in the original creation of the human physical body. But we've evolved so that we can obviously survive not doing what they did 6,000
There's
years
a
ago.
difference between surviving and living.
Yeah.
You're surviving, and maybe the mortality rates change, but that doesn't mean that, so a person lived to 90 years old. Well, what did they do?
Nothing.
sat around and they
Sat
never
around,
moved.
Well,
waited
are
to
they
die.
unhappy with that?
Did they spend 80 years waiting
Apparently,
to die?
to these guys,
To these
they
guys, that
are
would be-
unhappy.
that would
They've
make-
decided that they were unhappy.
Yeah, I think
That's a waste of flesh, and it's disrespectful.
I think it is. I think that you're putting it the right way. Like,
But
that's
do you
how I
believe,
put
you
it.
believe in a God?
Yeah.
And this God gave you these opportunities, this body, these chances, this brain. And if you don't utilize it, that's disrespectful. That's
Okay,
wrong, man.
but if every human being utilized their body and brain to the
Yes.
potential, what would culture look like?
It would be beautiful.
Wow.
People wouldn't be sitting. There'd be more art. There'd be more creativity.
Yeah,
Oh,
there'd be
wow.
lots.
Okay,
There'd be more involvement in social community.
What more do we need? Like, what more art do we need? We can access art anywhere, anytime, day or night. We can, right?
Really?
People are involved.
What art have you created? Well, this is art. You're
Right,
creating.
true, it
Good
is.
for you.
Okay, but let's say all of us used it, and let's just use art as an example.
Okay.
Now we're all artists. So everybody
wrong
on the
with it?
block is artists. Everybody in the city is artists.
Great.
Everybody in the province, the country, the continent, the world. Everybody's now artists because we've tapped into that human
Beautiful.
ability that
That'd
the
be
Creator
great.
gave us. It'd be beautiful, or would we tire of art and
No,
become
because
just the
all
mundane?
these ugly buildings we're building, these big square buildings and warehouses, they'd be more creative, more interesting. It's not just, it wouldn't be the base, it wouldn't be the quick function, get in, get out, form, done.
But Matt, the beautiful is only accented because of the existence of the mundane, right?
I get that the good exists because of the bad, pain is more painful because of the pleasure,
Yeah.
vice versa, blah, 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 blah.
Rich is out.
Well, you know what? And you're also going on to one of my other things I like to talk about is that nothing can exist in a vacuum. In a vacuum, you can't judge anything.
Have you seen the shit my vacuum sucks
Yeah.
at?
It needs to be. It needs
You
to
have a
be.
Dyson?
It needs to be put with something else, right? Like you can't. Like you're just saying, a beautiful building in and of itself.
gotta be contrast.
Is it really beautiful or not? It needs to be. Yeah, compared to something that isn't as beautiful, that is just very functional, and that's it. So and that's the
Well.
same thing. So do we move lots? Do we not? We judge it now based on someone that says that they go, and I gotta go to this again. Sorry, but what happens is
We're going to wrap in 2 minutes, guys.
Okay, someone says that they go and they.
We didn't talk about important things.
I exercise 3 times a week. I exercise lots. Well, in comparison to this person, maybe. In comparison to what you should, I don't know what the should is necessarily, but in comparison to the other person, you're a lazy slug. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
To the Lance Armstrong growth hormone user, you're a lazy slug.
well, yeah, sure, you
Yeah.
still put in the work, but anyway, so
Drugs only supplement you.
Yeah, well,
it
I
has to be
agree.
about.
That'll be a crew topic in the future.
It's all about comparisons. Everything's about comparisons. I think it was Malcolm Gladwell. He wrote some stuff about that too. Is that you need to have something to compare it to,
Yes.
and I
With
think
pain, there's no pleasure, right?
right, good, bad. Like what
Yeah.
is good, what is bad. Like your actions have to be compared to something different, and it's obvious once you think about it, but it's maybe not right at the front of your brain.
Yeah, and so to Matt's point that it's a waste of flesh if the person's if we're not using the person's physical body and their brain in a more meaningful. Can I use that?
Meaningful. Well, it doesn't have to be meaningful for you and I, but most of these individuals don't have meaningful for themselves, James. It's just they show up. They live in like a
Yeah.
Walmart society where they're trying to dress the same, eat the same, aspire to have the same damn house that looks the same.
So
And
if
it's
they-
ridiculous. They don't know
Everyone's
what they want or
aspiring
who
to
they
look
want.
the same as
Yes,
the people
they
at
are.
Walmart.
Yes, they are.
Just to close Walmart sells.
But it's just that I get that it's a culture, it's a comfort thing where they want to fit the norm. But the norm, we're all different people. We all have different likes
Yeah.
and wants. So they shouldn't try and fit the same. And
So-
so they have nothing they're aspiring for. So they sit and they wait. And they
Okay,
wait
so
to
would
die.
you say comfort has seduced us as a society worldwide, right? So
And
because
complacency, yeah.
once I found comfort, I don't really need to do anything else.
Right, and that's deemed as success. It's if you have a really nice car and you can drive somewhere, that's more success than being the guy that works hard to walk there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's success.
that's a mess.
And it is messed up, and it probably has more to do with the past. And thinking, well, I can live a more successful and an easier life because the regular life is like ridiculously hard.
Yeah.
You know, things are really easy here. If you have a decent job, life's pretty easy in comparison
we have great
to
lives, man.
like we don't.
They're awesome.
And for me to pretend that I know what the hard life is, I don't know what it is in comparison. Again, I need to compare it. What's
Yeah.
hard? What's easy? Like
Yeah, you got to pull out of this life and do that life
Yeah.
for a time. Get a
Jim, you
glimpse.
seem twitchy.
Well, I'm just trying to decide if we want to go through more topics now, or if we want to shut down. And
I'm going to skip out of here
Okay.
because I've got
okay, that's fine. And we got
obligations.
Matt likes skipping.
And there's nothing wrong with skipping.
nothing wrong with skipping.
It
It's
teaches
his
your body more
moving, so you're not a
explosiveness,
waste
yes.
of skin like me. I don't skip at all.
I have a
Alone and
skipping
feel
rope
shame.
over there on the wall. We could all do some skipping sometime. All right, any closing thoughts before I wrap things up?
Well, for your first show,
Ours,
well, I feel like you need to be the lead, James.
The Crew
Okay.
Live.
Crew Live.
The Crew Live's
Is that what-
first show.
that's right.
I
Live.
think it was nothing too challenging for topics.
Challenging. We better
I
have
think we
cheers.
played it very safe today.
Pretty lighthearted.
Pretty lighthearted. Pretty easy to go with. We take topic
Jim.
And
suggestions.
after we get the first,
Cheers, Rich.
I got cheers.
Hold on.
Cheers.
I got one quick thought.
Okay.
I think everybody, for their own mental health and for the goodness of their body and mind and spirit, they need to sit around and shoot the shit and argue and debate and mid-rash and don't keep it in and give your opinion and share it, and everybody has value and can add value to a conversation, and you can still be friends at the end of the day.
You know what? That's a good point. It is healthy. In fact, research is showing that the social connections we have make people healthier, and it involves talking like we do on the Crew Live for many. But let's put that as a topic for the next time. What is okay for discussion in small groups? Because none of you guys pissed me off today.
So what do you
No.
see? No, that's great. That's great.
and
that's-
nothing too controversial. I think we played it pretty
Right.
safe. I think, but there's a couple issues I want to discuss, but
Okay, write them down.
not a problem.
Write them down. And if you're able to look at this on YouTube or on the crewlive.co or on our Facebook page, and you've got a thought or a comment or you've got a topic you want to discuss, we'd happily do that. Send it along. And I just want to...
.co before.
.co.
So just so you know, .cas are taken almost all over the world. .coms are taken. .nets are hard to get.
.org.
.orgs are tough to get. So .co, .me, .us. There's a whole bunch of dots out there now. And this is the crewlive.co. I wasn't omitting a word. A-B-3. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, thanks for being here on the Crew Live from myself, Jim, Curtis, Rich, and Matt. We'll see you in the next time, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to go through some more serious, hard, controversial, and tough topics for your grandma to hear.
And new mugs.
Cheers.
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 Decisions, but I want it all, so I get it all. I wanna eat the whole cake. I'm not sharing, I'm not sharing. You should have learned how to bake. Yes, I want it all, so I get it all. I wanna eat the whole cake. I'm not sharing, I'm not sharing. You should have learned bitches love cake.